I had a number of precancerous skin lesions, and both on my face and on my scalp, predominantly along the temples, cheeks, and on my scalp. I was in the exam room about in early September, and she had looked at my chart from the previous year and told me that she had sprayed the liquid nitrogen about 20 times and that was too many, and she wanted to go the route of using FUDEX. I had one spot right here that starting about 2 months prior to the treatment, it was kind of a crusty, and that's the only one that I really had with that indication on it. I applied the FUDEX twice a day, roughly 12 hours apart, on cheeks, temples, and on my scalp, and then waited about an hour, and then coated it with the light coating of Vaseline, and then went through it again in the evening. The first 2 days wasn't too bad. By the fourth application, so the evening of the second day, I could tell where the sunspots were when I applied it by the amount that it burned on those particular areas in comparison to the other skin. My skin just progressively got redder, and I applied that for 5 days, twice a day for 5 days. And probably on day 4 of application of it, I started getting some bleeding and some oozing, especially on my cheeks here, and a little bit on the temple, but not as bad. When I was done with the 5 days of treatment, it really got worse as that week progressed. Actually, it got probably at its worst about 5 to 6 days after I stopped treatment. And then it started getting slowly healing, and slowly is probably, actually it healed reasonably quickly in comparison, because I would have used the last treatment on January 13th, and today's the 28th, so roughly 2 weeks. And for the most part, my skin is healed. You can still see a little bit of pink there, light sunburn, and they say that'll take about 1 to 2 months, and then skin should look normal. I did use sunscreen religiously once it became available and useful, and by useful I mean something that really worked. But they also tell you that the damage that we see now, I'm 67, was done when I was young, a kid. So, here we are 50 years later, 60 years later, and seeing the results. I think it's too early to tell. That one spot I was talking about earlier, that's no longer there. So going by that, hopefully I don't have to do this again.